Yo, before we kick this off, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button on USX Stories right now so you never miss the next legend. A 5 foot, for a girl walks into a room full of cocky Marine recruits who've been told women can't fight. 30 seconds later, 3 of them are snoring on the mat. The drill instructor's jaw is on the floor, and the only words coming out of her mouth are, "I'm a combat master." If you've ever been underestimated in your life, you're going to want to see what happens next. And real quick, if you love your mom and dad the way this girl loves proving people wrong, smash that subscribe button right now, and let's show her some love. Fort Jackson, South Carolina, summer of 2024. The air so thick with humidity you could chew it. Cicadas screamed like incoming artillery, while a lone female soldier stepped off the cattle truck with seed bags slung over one shoulder and murder in her hazel eyes. Private First Class Riley Valdez, 19 years old, 5'4", 121 pounds, soaking wet, born and raised in the dusty border town of Laredo, Texas. Daughter of a retired Army sergeant and a mom who could still outshoot half the men at the local VFW. Rye had enlisted the day she turned 17 with parental consent because the recruiter promised her one thing: Marine Corps martial arts program instructor school straight out of boot if she graduated top of her platoon. She did. Top female, top 5 overall. The males hated it. The cadre loved it. And now she was here at the Combat Instructor Training Battalion. The only female in a class of 42 hard-charging men who'd already decided she was a quota higher, a diversity box to check, a walking participation trophy. They were wrong. Dead wrong. On the first day of sparring evolution, the senior instructor, Gunnery Sergeant Rawls, a man built like a refrigerator with legs, barked that everyone would pair off by weight class. Rye got thrown in with 3 light heavyweights who outweighed her by 70 pounds each. They grinned like hyenas. One of them, a former high school wrestler from Ohio named Perkins, whispered loud enough for the formation to hear, "Try not to cry when I put you to sleep, princess." The mat was rolled out under the South Carolina sun. Sweat poured. Cameras rolled for training footage. Rye just tied her black belt, cracked her neck, and smiled the kind of smile that made grown men reconsider their life choices. The first fight lasted 11 seconds. Perkins rushed in for a double-leg takedown, like he was sacking a quarterback on Friday night. Rye sprawled, stuffed his head, popped up, and snapped a knee into his temple the way her dad taught her on the back porch with a heavy bag made from an old tire. Perkins dropped like someone cut his strings. The formation went dead silent, except for cicadas. Rawls' eyebrows tried to escape his forehead. Second guy, a loudmouth from Jersey named Moretti, charged and screaming some macho nonsense. Rye sidestepped, caught his arm, rolled into an armbar from hell, and hyperextended the elbow until the scream turned into a whimper and tap. Third guy, a quiet farm boy from Iowa, who everyone thought was a nice one, hesitated. Rye didn't. She closed distance, feinted high, kicked his lead leg out from under him, mounted, and rained down elbows until the safety NCO dove in yelling, "Red, red." 3 fights, 3 knockouts, 0 mercy. The platoon stood frozen. Someone in the back muttered, "Holy shit." Rawls looked at the carnage, then at Rye wiping blood off her knuckles that wasn't hers, and simply said, "Valdez, you're sparring the instructor cadre tomorrow. Try not to kill anybody important." Word spread across Fort Jackson faster than chlamydia in basic training. By chow time, every drill instructor on post knew there was a tiny Tex-Mex girl putting grown men to sleep with her hands. The cadre decided to humble her. They brought in Staff Sergeant Maddox, 6'3", 230, former Force Recon, undefeated in the battalion smoker fights for 4 straight years. They cleared the entire training pit, brought out the big blue mats, and made it a demonstration bout in front of 200 students. Maddox bowed respectfully, then whispered, "Nothing personal, little sister. Just got to show these kids a food chain." The bell rang. He shot in like a missile. Rye moved like water. She caught him in a tie clinch, kneed the body twice, slipped the overhook, and dumped him on his head with her raigashi that rattled the floor. Maddox popped up laughing, eyes wild with respect and adrenaline. They went 4 brutal rounds. Blood painted both their mouths. In the end, Rye caught him with a spinning elbow that opened a cut above his eye, and the corpseman called it. The pit erupted. Phones came out. Someone posted a clip with the caption, 5 feet 4 inches demon, just retired a recon legend. By nightfall, it had 2 million views. Rye sat alone in the barracks cleaning her mouth guard, unaware she'd just become a viral ghost. That night, she got called into the company commander's office. Captain Holt, a woman who'd fought in Fallujah, stared at Rye across the desk like she was looking at a loaded weapon. Private Valdez, do you have any idea what you've done? Rye stood at parade rest, still tasting blood. Completed the evolution, ma'am. Holt slid a tablet across the desk. The video was everywhere. ESPN Combat Sports picked it up. Joe Rogan retweeted it with fire emojis. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. A lawyer from Los Angeles contacted the command, claiming to represent a major streaming platform. They wanted to buy the rights to Rye's story for a docuseries. The price tag made the captain's eyes water. But there was a catch. The Corps didn't own Rye's likeness once she was famous, and some very powerful people in the Pentagon were suddenly nervous about a teenage girl embarrassing the entire instructor cadre on camera. Overnight, orders came down. Rye was to be quietly removed from the course for medical reasons and reassigned to a desk at Camp Lejeune. They were going to bury her. Rye refused the orders. Flat out refused. In front of the entire company during morning formation, she told the first sergeant, "With all due respect, Sergeant Major, I earned this school with blood, and I'm not leaving it because some colonel's feelings got hurt." The Sergeant Major, a man who'd survived Helmand Province, actually smiled. Word reached the commandant himself. Instead of punishment, new orders cut. Rye would finish the course, but under one condition. She had to fight in the All-Service Combat Championships in Quantico, open weight. No protective gear except mouthpiece and cup, winner take all, broadcast live on national television. If she won, she'd get her instructor tab, and the Corps would never touch her career again. If she lost, she'd disappear to some motor pool in 29 Palms for the rest of her enlistment. Rye looked the sergeant major dead in the eye and said, "Tell them I accept, and tell them to have the ambulance ready for the other guy." Training became war. The cadre that once wanted her gone now secretly rooted for her. Maddox, the recon beast she'd already beaten, became her primary sparring partner. They trained 6 hours a day in a barn they called the pit. He taught her the dirty tricks only recon knows. She taught him speed kill size every time. She ate, slept, and breathed violence. Her body transformed, veins like road maps, traps like a linebacker. Her mom sent care packages of barbacoa and prayers. Her dad sent one text, "Media, break their souls." The night before the tournament, a producer from the streaming giant showed up with a contract. $1 million if she signed away her life rights. Rye tore it up on camera and told the guy, "I'm not for sale. I'm for rent to the United States Marine Corps until I decide otherwise." The clip went more viral than the knockouts. Quantico, the night of fight. 20,000 people in the arena, millions watching online. The bracket was a murderer's row. An Army Ranger, a SEAL, a career Marine Taekwondo champion. And in the final, the reigning champion, a 6 feet 6 inches, 265-pound beast from the Russian Spetsnaz exchange program named Volkov, who'd ended careers. Rye walked out to Remember the Name by Fort Minor, Texas flag bandana under her helmet, eyes blacked out with grease paint. The crowd lost their minds. First fight, Ranger rushes her. 38 seconds, guillotine choke, lights out. Second fight, SEAL tries to drown her in the clinch. She reverses, takes the back, rear naked choke, tap. Third fight, the Korean tries to kick her head off. She catches a leg, dumps him, ground and pound until the ref saves him. Then came Volkov. He smiled like a wolf. The bell rang and hell opened. Volkov ragdolled her for 2 straight minutes. Slammed her so hard the mat bounced. Blood poured from Rye's eyebrow. The crowd was screaming itself hoarse. He locked in a kimura, and the arena thought it was over. Then the twist. Rye remembered her dad's voice on that old tire bag. When they think they have you, that's when you bite. She let the arm go slack. Volkov leaned in to finish, and Rye threw her legs up, locked a triangle choke from the bottom with her tiny ankles behind his neck, and squeezed until the giant's face turned purple. He tried to slam her. She held on. He dropped to his knees. She arched her hips in Volkov. The unstoppable Russian tapped frantically. The arena detonated. Rye stood up covered in blood that was mostly his, raised both fists, and screamed into the camera, "I'm a combat master." The phrase trended worldwide within minutes. The aftermath was chaos. The commandant personally pinned the instructor tab on her chest the next morning in front of the entire Marine Corps base. The streaming company upped their offer to $10 million. She turned it down again. Instead, she started the Valdez Combat Scholarship for underprivileged kids who want to serve. The 3 recruits she originally knocked out in South Carolina showed up at her promotion ceremony to sergeant, stood at attention, and saluted her first. Perkins, a loudmouth from Ohio, had a tattoo on his forearm that read, "She hit me so hard I saw God," and God was a 5 feet 4 inches Texan. The Corps made her the face of the new recruiting campaign. Billboards across America. A tiny woman in cami staring down the lens with the words a few. The proud. The dangerous. Rye went home to Laredo on leave. Her mom cried. Her dad just handed her a beer and said, "You done good, Meja. Real good." 2 years later, Master Sergeant Riley Valdez runs a Marine Corps Martial Arts Center of Excellence. Every new instructor has to watch the Volkov fight on day 1. She still spars every morning at 0500. Recruits line up around the block for the chance to say they lasted 30 seconds with the legend. Some kid from Chicago asked her once, "Ma'am, were you ever scared?" She looked him dead in the eye and said, "Son, fear is just a gatekeeper. I kicked his ass too." The kid laughed, then threw up try to keep up with her warm-up. And somewhere in America right now, a little girl is watching that viral clip on her phone, telling her dad, "I want to be like her." Mission accomplished. The 5'4" demon from Laredo didn't just break the mold. She melted it down and forged something unstoppable. And she's still not done. Not even close. All right, y'all. That was a legend of Riley, Combat Master, Valdez. Drop a comment right now and tell me what part of this country you're watching from. Texas, Cali, New York, Florida, wherever. I read every single one. Let's see where the real ones are at. And if this story fired you up even half as much as it did me, you already know what to do. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and let's keep proving the haters wrong together. See you in the next one. Ora!